child has been born for us, a son given to us. Authority rests upon his shoulders, and he is named Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. His authority shall grow continually, and there shall be endless peace for the throne of David and his kingdom. He will establish and uphold it with justice and with righteousness, from this time onward and forevermore. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will do this. This is the word of God for the people of God.
If you look on the front of your bulletin, you can find our word description of God today. It's the one that says, Everlasting Father. Just want to remind you that when Isaiah was speaking hope into the people's hearts, it was a time of darkness. It was hard times. There was a lot of division. There was a lot of fighting amongst each other. There was a lot of lives wrapped in fears. And so he was speaking these two words that are beautiful words that do bring us hope. And the two words are everlasting and Father. And so I thought we would just look at that. Let's look at what everlasting really means and what Father means. I have on the screen some everlasting gifts, supposedly. I looked these up on Google in case you need to do some last-minute Christmas shopping. There are some pictures up here of things that are supposed to last a lifetime. Let's see, Darren. This is called a Comb Extreme Dog Toy. These toys are supposed to, you're saying yes. I don't have a Comb toy, but it is supposed to last forever and ever. Okay, what's another one? Oh, Darn Tough Socks. Have you heard of that brand? Now, I don't know how they last forever, so I looked that up, and it says you just can turn it back in and they'll give you a new pair. So technically, they don't last forever. Let's see another one. Did you know that the Swiss Army knife is supposed to last forever and ever? Cannot be broken. Okay, let's get another one. A cast iron skillet, which is nothing that I would want. But you can get one for somebody and it'll last their whole life. Is there anything? Oh, Pyrex glass mixing bowls. You can break them, you can drop them, you can throw them. They will stay put together for an entire lifetime. And I think there's another one. Have you heard of the everlasting gobstopper on Willy Wonka? Technically, it has not been released yet, but supposedly it's a candy that you can suck on forever and ever, and it will never go away. These are the things that our world can offer us that are supposedly everlasting, but you and I both know that is not what the word everlasting means. It's much richer. Everlasting means without end, which is what some of these gifts claim to be, without end. But everlasting also means without beginning, which means that God has been your God before you even thought of him. I looked in the scripture for the things that I could find that were everlasting, and what I came up with were two things. One is his word. His word is everlasting because it means today, even though it's already almost 2020, it is still relative. It still has something to say to your heart and my heart, even though it was written thousands of years ago. And on top of that, if you're ever in one of my small groups, or in my teaching times, I will always ask this question after we read the scripture. I'll ask you, what stood out for you? Because what's so beautiful about God's word is that it is always full of something that your heart needed to hear. And what your heart needs to hear may be different than what I took away from that scripture passage. How beautiful that his word, that his speaking to your heart never gets old. It's everlasting. And then, of course, the other one is his everlasting love. Isaiah said in chapter 54, "But with everlasting love, I will have compassion on you, says the Lord, your Redeemer." Aren't you thankful? Aren't you thankful that his love is everlasting? This world is just so conditional, and love kind of comes and it goes. Nothing you do, nothing you say is ever going to make God walk away. His love will always be present in your life. I don't know why my luck was so bad in high school and college, but it seems like my boyfriends always broke up with me right near Christmas. It was so depressing because I thought, this is the one, this is going to be everlasting love. And then sometime right before the holidays, before I even got a gift, they would break up with me. One Christmas I remember vividly, and my family loves to remind me of this story because it's a little embarrassing and awkward, but I'm going to share it. So this boy broke up with me, and our family always on Christmas Eve goes caroling to our neighbors. Well, I was so depressed and so sad. I didn't want any of the food, any of the gifts, and I certainly didn't want to go caroling to neighbors. So you're not going to believe what I did. I just decided I am going to walk around the neighborhood, but I'm not going with my family, and I'm going to take my harmonica, which I don't know how to play. But I knew that that was supposed to be a sad noise. So I literally, as a teenager, walked around my neighborhood blowing on a harmonica. And I remember my brothers would see me because they're still walking around the neighborhoods with the family singing. They'd go, "We still love you." And I'm so embarrassed. Leave me alone. I'm sad. And guys, everlasting love, it just isn't real in this world except for your Maker, except for God. And I am glad that many things don't last forever, including troubles or heartache like I experienced. Some of you have a heartache right now that's weighing heavy on you. The promise of Scripture is that it will not last forever. Some of you have a lot of tasks before you. It's Christmas week and there's a lot of things to get done and you're thinking, I've got to get this wrapped up, got to make this happen. Let me remind you that that task that is kind of making your mind spin, it will not last forever. And of course, conflict. If you have conflict with someone or you're feeling upset with someone, here's a sweet reminder. It won't last forever. Only God's love will. The New Testament always speaks to the Old Testament, and so I pulled up a New Testament passage that Paul wrote about our troubles. So Darren, if you'll show it to us, I'll read it to you. It says, "For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. Since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." We're going to leave that passage up for a minute because I want you to notice those first two words of our troubles being described as light and momentary. Sometimes it doesn't feel like the trouble that you're carrying today is light, nor is it going to be momentary. You know, the devil supposedly had a yard sale, and a bunch of people wanted to go see his yard sale because they thought, what would the devil have for sale? And mostly, he had tools for sale. But his tools weren't like the regular tools that some of you may have. His tools were for hatred, jealousy, judgment. He had a tool for pride. And there was this one item that was really worn out. But yet the devil had marked a really high price on this tool. So one of the buyers at the yard sale asked the devil, "What is the name of this tool that's so worn out, but yet you have it priced so high?" And the devil answered, "It's called discouragement. It's the most useful tool I have. It is badly worn because I've used it so much. It is so very effective." Don't let your troubles discourage you. They are light and momentary in comparison to eternal glory. Eternal glory. You know, that's just kind of a big, fancy theological word that is just to remind you that you get it, right? That this isn't all there is. That whatever it is that you're walking in isn't where it's at. That there's someone bigger that wants to help walk alongside you. There was this old preacher, and he got to preaching about eternal glory. And as he got worked up and sweating and stirred and running up and down the aisle and raising his hands and giving a whoop whoop, he was getting everybody excited because he was asking, "Who wants to go to heaven tonight?" Well, people got super excited. People's hands were going up. I'm going, I'm going. People were jumping around, getting excited, except for this one little boy who thought to himself, "I don't know if I'm so excited." So after church, the pastor asked him, he said, "Don't you want to go to heaven?" And the little boy said, "Yes, someday, but I thought you were taking a big load of us up tonight." There is a better place. There is a better time. And so we wait and walk with Jesus until then. Then the scripture tells us what to do. Instead of focusing on our light and momentary troubles, it says, fix our eyes on what is not on what is seen, but what is unseen. It means fix your eyes on Jesus. Do not get distracted by your disappointments. Don't let whatever it is that you're discouraged by today, some part of your circumstance, be your total focus. Y'all probably are familiar with the hymn that says, "Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face, and the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. Something beautiful happens when I put my eyes and fix them on my Jesus. When I spend time in his word, when I spend a little time praying, when I listen to a song that can lift my heart. It's amazing how when I turn my eyes to Jesus, the things that are worrying me, that make me tired, kind of fade away. The other word I want us to look at, we looked at everlasting. I want us to look at Father. I asked a bunch of you this week, whoever walked into the building or when I ran into you on the streets, I asked you this question: what do you need from a dad? What do you need from a father? And here's what you said. I think I have the words on the screen. The number one and number two answer were support and guidance. Those were the ones that I heard the most. But then I also heard things like trust, security, blessing, money. They were getting really real. Protection, and love. What a beautiful thing that our God is all these things. Maybe not the money, but he's all these things for us. He is the blessing that you need in your life. He is someone you can trust. He is your guide. He is your support in a wild thing we call life. When I was in college, it was I think it was my first year. I had a fall break, a little time where you get to get away for a few days. And so me and a few girlfriends, we were excited because we were now in college. And so we were going to do our own vacation, not with our parents. We were going to do our own thing. And so it was about November, and we decided to drive from South Carolina up into the mountains of North Carolina. And we were kind of clueless because we thought we were going to camp. We got a little tent from Walmart. We were going to have a good time up in the mountains. But as we got closer and closer to the top of the mountain, it was pouring snow already, which we didn't expect coming from Columbia, South Carolina. So when we got to the mountains and the snow's pouring down, we knew we could not survive in a Walmart tent. And so we found this little old crusty, dusty, musty hotel, and at the time we pulled all our dollars together, and we had $17 between the three of us. And the guy said, okay, I'll give you a room for $17. And as soon as we got in the room, I went straight to the phone. We didn't have cell phones back then. And I called my dad, and I said, this was a bad idea. It's pouring the snow. Our tent, we're going to freeze to death. And my dad said, if you can get home by midnight, I'll take y'all all to Florida. Well, guess what? We ditched that hotel room. We jumped back in the car. We got to our home by midnight. My dad drove us through the night for 3 nights in Orlando, Florida. You know, my dad was like that. Somehow my dad had a way of turning disappointment into delight. And our God does too. It is not that hard stuff won't happen to you. It's that God will take what is hard and he will make it something good. What if we could live like that? What if we could live in that knowing? What if we could trust and be like our God and always see what is good even in the hard? My father, we're from South Carolina, and I'm going home for a week after Christmas. I'm super excited. And I'm going to tell you what happens to me every time I go home. It doesn't matter where I am, if I'm at the mall, or if I'm at a store, or at the grocery store, someone's going to say to me, are you a wolf? Which is my last maiden name, Wolf. Are you a wolf? And I'll say, yes, I am. I knew your father. You look just like him. I knew your father. And then they go into this fun story about my dad. You know, I wonder if people know who our Father is. If they know this person that is ruling our hearts. I wonder if we act like him. I wonder if people acknowledge that we're attached to our Heavenly Father. Do we live like he does? Now, my dad here on earth was not perfect, and when that camera's not filming, I'll tell you some of the stories, but our eternal Father is. So I want to close with this passage. John said that when God came to earth, he became flesh. He sent his son Jesus to dwell among us, and we got to see the Father full of grace and full of truth. That's who your everlasting eternal Father is. He is the God that lives within you, that is full of grace to get you through this day, but also full of truth to to point you in the direction that you could be closer to the Father.